Hello, hello, hello. This is Wendy from Real Talk Tea here, and we are talking about the aftermath of former President Donald Trump's shooting at the Pennsylvania rally that occurred last Saturday, July 13th. This was not the ordinary, of course. I watched it live and witnessed it myself, and I was shocked, blown away, afraid, not only for him, but for our country, and where this episode in particular is going to lead us and where we're going to end up. That's key to be thinking about. So during the Pennsylvania rally, Donald Trump was doing his thing. And then out of nowhere, on the third or fourth shot, I think it was a third shot, you saw him pull on his ear. And then on his own, hit the floor. He ducked and got on the floor himself. Now, first of all, the gunshots, I don't know if that was just the audio from my standpoint of listening and watching it at home, but to me it sounded like firecrackers. Didn't sound real. But then we saw Donald Trump grab his ear and then crush down to the floor. So he was actually shot, and it grazed or pierced his ear. My question is, where was security? During this fireworks / gunshots, where was security? Because he actually got crunched down himself and got on the ground before security actually got to him. What was the delay with security? Were they newbies on the job? Did they get hired based on a know somebody basis? Were they competent or incompetent? These are questions I want you to ask yourself to kind of figure this puzzle out, because this is definitely a puzzle. One of the biggest questions that everybody is asking now, he's been touring. Biden has been touring, doing their thing for the election. Security is just number one. Why was this roof and this water tower left unmanned? Why? Everything else seems or appeared to be covered. But why was this one area left unmanned? And from the research I've been doing, they cut staff in half during this time. So was it a matter of them not having enough coverage? If so, you don't need to be speaking. As a former president, new elect president to be, I can understand and I can see why people are like, what the hell is going on here? And I've watched it over and over and over again. And each time I've watched it, I have more questions. Because the math is not mathing. The alleged shooter, 20-year-old Caucasian Thomas Matthews Crook. What do we know about him? 20 years old. According to some of his classmates, which he really didn't have any friends, he was an outcast and a loner. He was bullied in school. And he was actually a registered Republican. But it is known that he made a donation to the Democratic Party. The police had already been investigating him prior to all of this. Red flags. Why? He had ammo, he had ladder, and the gun was an AR-15 rifle, which he borrowed from his dad. Yep. So right now, they're looking at his laptop. They're looking for cell phones. They're trying to analyze and find out whatever information they can possibly find out. And in his car, they also found bomb making material. 20 years old. 20 years old. So people are asking vital questions. Did he do it? Did he act alone? If he did not, where are the other people? Because the way it went, he was not a professional. He appeared to not know what he was doing, because out of all of the bullets fired, he missed. He came close, but he missed. Now, was this on purpose? Was it intentional? Those are questions everybody want to know. My number one question is, where was security? I've seen better security in nightclubs. And this man used to be the president of the United States. Where did he do that at? Oh, here, the United States of bullshit. This shouldn't have happened. It never happened before. Trump goes where he wants to go all the time. I'm quite sure he has his little security detail, but never has this happened on him. And it hasn't happened on Biden. And in the past, Biden has made his little comments and things, and I quote, "Put Trump in the bullseye," unquote. Put Trump in the bullseye. 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 What does that mean? Put a mark on his back? On his forehead? Get rid of him? If any lay person would have made these remarks, they would have been deemed terroristic threatening. But our acting and current president made this statement. Put Trump in the bullseye. Okay, so January 6th, Trump made some statements. And what happened? What happened? Somebody listened to what Trump said. And what happened to our Capitol? It was seized. Did someone take these words as a warning to take Trump out? Did somebody listen and try to read between the lines of what Biden was saying or asking for? Nobody's questioning Biden, but they questioned the hell out of Trump for the January 6th issue. But nobody's saying anything to Biden. Whew. There have been numerous comments from witnesses that were actually there. So much so that the FBI now is trying to make people with phone footage to come forward, because the bystanders did their job. Better than the FBI and the CIA. So, just like the regular police, they can't do their job unless somebody gives them the information. So if you don't say nothing, they don't know nothing. So they're asking for people who were actually there and have phone footage to submit it for investigation. Why would you do that? Why would you help them do their job? That's what they're getting paid the big bucks for, the CIA and the FBI. But this is what's currently happening right now. And what's really strange as well is that there were many witnesses that saw this guy crawling around on the roof with the rifle that attempted to warn Secret Service and the police. And their heads were in the clouds. They did nothing. Another red flag. Why didn't they move? Why didn't they investigate? Why didn't they take heed? Everything should have been shut down the moment somebody pointed toward that roof. Trump should have ceased speaking. He should have been removed from the platform. And the way they removed him from the platform was like they held him up like a gutted pig so somebody could continue to shoot at him. He wasn't protected at all. His head was out and exposed. His chest was out and exposed. He was still a target with security. The security rushed him after the fact and encircled him like they were playing Ring Around the Roses or something. But he still wasn't protected. Where do they hire these people? But you know, it kind of shows what's actually happening in real time, in real life right now. Because since COVID, everything, quality has dramatically dropped. Customer service, nobody gives a fuck anymore. Everywhere you go, nobody cares. And it's been this way for the past 3 to 4 years since COVID. You can't get quality products anymore. You can't get quality customer service anymore. You can't get quality shit. So why should this be any different? Because this security team, every last one of them, should not have a job. They didn't do anything. And the whole point of security is exactly that. He was not secure. Not at all. This was indeed a hot mess. It was indeed a hot mess. So now everybody is putting their 2 cents in. We already had Clooney and people from Hollywood last week or so asking for Biden to step down because Clooney, he threw this fundraiser. He collected millions of dollars to, help Biden, advertise and do his thing. But after the debate, he says, hell no, I can't co-sign this. But now you have the comedians and like D.L. Hewley and Eddie Griffin coming out saying this shit was staged and or scripted. And from the looks of it, there are many things that are questionable. So we have to look at, okay, if it was staged, does that mean that what we saw was not real, because what we saw, there were real bullets, gunfire, and there were fatalities, including a shooter. But that doesn't mean it wasn't staged because lives were taken. It doesn't mean it wasn't staged at all. And it doesn't mean it wasn't scripted. If you go back and watch this over and over and over again in slow-mo, you would just be in awe, like, what the hell? Or, what the hell? Because, again, something's not right. Something's not adding up. Okay, and when the shots were fired, Trump ducked down. The ones immediately behind him kind of ducked. But there were several, 3 or 4 people that were standing up, looking out among, the audience and everything. Who does that? Nobody was running. Everybody was right there. And I asked myself, have the gun violence become normalized in our lifetime? Are we numb to all of this? Because it's like we heard screams and, a lot of screams, but not much movement. And that could be a cultural thing too. And I don't want to say it, but you know what I'm talking about. Because, I'm going to say it. With black people, you don't have to have gunfire. You can look like something wrong and we're running. We ask questions later. But these people stayed right where they were and was still attentive, trying to see where the shots were coming from, the shooting was coming from, who's injured. Meanwhile, not thinking about your own self and livelihood. It was just so much going on that's so questionable. So nobody's running. You have an open, unsecure area. And like one person said, I think it was an ex-sniper, the water tower, the roof, open, wide open. That's a given. That's common sense for that to be covered. Why wasn't it? It looks scripted. It looks staged. Staged, scripted, but with fatalities. And then immediately after this, a nice gesture of a GoFundMe account set up by the Trump administration. And millions have been donated for the families who were subjected to a loss. Never seen that before either. GoFundMe account from a former president. Millions collected. The United States is on some new shit. That's all I got to say. So we got shots fired. Everybody sitting still in their chair. Nobody running. Screaming, but not running. Open and unsecured, wide open area. Why? All of the questions are why and how. Okay. Who? But why? The delay in security teams. And I think several, or like a third of the team were female, which nothing's going against female, but hey, Trump is not a small man. Why would you have a 5'2", 5'4" female trying to cover a man who's 6'3"? Again, head out in the open for a bullet right between the third eye. What? This is just not, it's not mathing. And these women, they were afraid their own selves. But they signed up for the job, thinking it was going to be a cush job. Nothing will ever happen, to Trump or whoever they're protecting, Biden or whoever. But this is their job, is to put their life before the person they're securing. But they played Ring Around the Roses from the platform all the way to his vehicle. But the whole entire time they're doing the Cuban shuffle to the vehicle, Trump was still exposed. So if there was more than one shooter, he could have still been taken out. He was not protected at all. And then the warnings from the witnesses to the police and the Secret Service, pointing and letting them know, hey, there's a guy on the roof. They were totally ignored. All of this could have been avoided if somebody would have listened. It's just our life now. We know it's a simulation, but it's really a movie. But at first I said sci-fi when COVID came out. I think we have a new genre because I don't know what this shit is. It's comical sometimes. Then it makes you cry. It makes you scary. It's suspenseful. This is a thriller. I mean, I just, security just sucked. And I think if they really wanted to get Trump, they had every opportunity to. And he was missed on purpose, it appears, if it was scripted and staged. This would make for a good movie. So, let's say if it was scripted, who wrote the script? Was it the Republicans? Was it the Democrats? Who scripted it? And why? So let's see if the Democrats had something to do with it, since our alleged shooter was a registered Republican, but he donated to the Democrats. Did they? This is just interesting. Who scripted this? Did the Dems do it to scare the hell out of Trump? To make him give up? Because that's not who Trump is. So that can't be it. Could it be an inside job on Trump's behalf? To have a landslide winning election? Could that be it? Because Trump already knows, allegedly, that the Dems are cheating. They're putting things in their pathway already to cheat. They're trying to pass a bill so you won't have to recount votes in case something is close, because they already know what they're up to. And Trump is always one up, or tries to be. So if he wins in a landslide, with this bill being passed, there's no need to recount because the numbers will be there. But if it's close and Trump says, something ain't right about these numbers, we need to do a recount, and they pass a law, a bill, or whatever saying, no, we're not going to recount, and if they're one number off and the Dems win, Trump is not going to have that. Ain't no way in hell. So to keep it from being close, this little activity that just went on has widened the playing field. It has widened the playing field. People are looking at Trump as a hero. This has done his campaign so much justice. What are the Dems going to do now? What are they going to do? Pay attention to the SAFE Act. SAFE. Pay attention. Keep your mind's eye on the SAFE Act, because all the last one or two elections was all about verifying who you are, verifying and matching up your address. Everything had to be perfect. If you had an address different on your driver's license, you could not vote. It had to match up to your current address. So if you just moved today and had not had a chance to change your address on your driver's license, then you couldn't vote. But the SAFE Act is saying that they don't want to verify your address and things of that nature now. Where is this coming from? The Dems. Why? Because they're cheating. And we've had them in the House for how long? Don't you want to change? There's going to be one way or the other, good or bad, but there will be change. It's going to be a forced change. We keep hearing a lot about Project 2025. I don't know who's for this, and whoever he is have not read the project in its entirety. It's not for us. Nope. Agenda 47 is the Republicans' take, or this their Republicans' take on their own take on the Project 2025. There's something totally different. But right now, forget 2025. Forget Agenda 47. Pay attention to the SAFE Act. That's what's most important here. So what happens now? An investigation. Who's being investigated? Who's doing the investigation? Because the FBI and the CIA are both dirty. Remember how the FBI and the CIA treated Trump doing his investigations, how they came into his house and ransacked it and pulled all this stuff out? These are the same people who's going to investigate this. It's like a robber standing on a stand, telling a version of how they robbed you and how it's your fault that you got robbed. None of this is making sense. And now, just in, both the FBI and the DHS, Department of Human Services, has put out a warning. And they're saying to be careful, to be cognizant, to be aware for possible retaliatory attacks. All of this is part of an agenda, but not the agenda that you're thinking of. This is a hot mess. This is going to lead us to a civil war. It may not be on a wide scale, but any war is big. It's huge. It costs lives. It costs money. And if we're putting our money towards yet another war, but this time our own, it's taken away from something else. We are so divided as a country. We are more divided now than we were in the 60s. And that should not be. We're supposed to be the richest nation in the world. We're supposed to be the smartest, most intelligent of everything. But, action speaks louder than words. Nothing is showing our power, our stance as a nation, as a country. Nothing. And to see how security acted in the time of need makes me question our military. How many of you think our military is ready for a war? I've watched numerous videos, I've been reading, I've been doing my research, and there have been several sniper interviews, former sniper interviews, and the one that I have seen and watched a couple of times is from Dallas Alexander, who is a former sniper of about 14 years, and now he's a country singer. But he said himself the same thing that the other snipers are saying. None of this is adding up. None of this is making sense. And it appears to be planned and coordinated. Dallas said that roof and tower were the first two things as a sniper to look at. You're having professionals in this field who were trained to protect and to kill. They're all saying the same things. This is why people are saying more and more every day that this was scripted or staged. I mean, hell, we saw it. The world saw it. Other countries saw it. We saw this. And fortunately, with the internet and the news coverage, we can go back and see it and see it and see it and see it again. But each time you see it, you're not going to get answers, but more questions. But this was common sense to have every rooftop covered. You would think within a mile radius, every stores, gas stations, things of that nature would be shut down to prevent this from happening. And the alleged shooter, did he do this by himself? From the fuck up, it looks like he did. But when you think at the planning and the coordination of this, you had to have had somebody on the inside to help him. I'm sure you could not just walk into this rally without being searched. Purses open for ladies. Where was his car? Where did he park his car? Or did he park a car? How did he get there? Did he drive himself or did somebody take and drop him off? If that's the case, somebody knows what he did and they're in on it. We already know that the gun came from his own dad because he was used to going to the range to shoot with an AR-15. Yeah. They need to be questioned. 20 years old with the AR-15, why? Who does that? How did he get in with a long ass rifle? How? Somebody somewhere knows something. So personally, this situation right here, you don't know whether to laugh or cry. Because it's just sad. It really is. It's sad and it's dangerous. And this is not a game that we are playing. Where do we go from here? How do we recoup? Who do we trust? If this was staged or scripted, who is responsible? We can kind of figure out the whys on both parts. Was the alleged shooter, was he a loner? Mr. Thomas Matthew Crooks, did he do this by himself? What's going to come out later today? What's going to come out tomorrow? What is it that they are not telling us? This is huge. But for our now president to say, quote, again, put Trump in the bullseye, and I quote, well, somebody heard you. They attempted, or did they? But whatever this is, it's favoring Donald Trump. And people are mad and they pissed off. Even certain talk shows who have been making fun of Trump and, just making light of everything. They can't anymore because this is serious. There is nothing comical about this. So they have shit else to say. The shit has literally just hit the fan. For us as a people, Americans, a nation, and the country, life is a stage and we are on it. And other countries are watching us and having a field day. Can you imagine somebody sitting down with eating popcorn, watching that rally, getting off on this, saying, well, we are just fucking sitting ducks. But I honestly believe this is going to lead to a civil war because we are too far gone at this point to get to an attempted assassination. That's too far-fetched. We should not be here in 2024. We should not. The elections anyway. So, moving forward. Today is Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday, which was the first day of the RNC, the Republican National Convention. And Donald J. Trump announced his VP. And that would be one of J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance had a seat on the Ohio Senate. He also wrote a book and a movie on Netflix called Hillbilly Elegy. And it's based on him growing up in poverty and drug addictions and things of that nature. But he was once in opposition of Trump, which is something different. So his job is to convince the ones that were once like him, didn't like Trump, couldn't stand Trump, ain't gonna vote for Trump. But he flipped the script, so to speak. So his job is for all the ones who were once like him against Trump, he has to make them flip the script and change their mind to now vote for him. That's his primary job. He is supposed to understand the psyche of the people who once felt like he did and make them change their mind. But from this attempted assassination, I think it's a sealed deal unless something else comes up and out. But as far as J.D. Vance, he served in the Marines and in Iraq. He went to Yale. And like I said, he had a seat in the Senate of Ohio, which now leaves an opening. And the question now is, will Vivek Ramaswamy take his spot? Or will he take a seat in the cabinet? This guy, I love him. He's very intelligent. And I think he would do well either way. So to end this, like I said before, and I will reiterate it, this is all part of a plan or agenda. Just not the one that you are immediately thinking of. Stay cognizant, stay safe and vigilant, be aware of your surroundings, because a warning came out today from the Department of Human Services and the FBI that there could possibly be some retaliation happening from this. So my question to you is, who or what are you truly voting for? The man, the party, or the policies? Ask yourself that. We also want to know, why was the roof and the water tower left unsecured? We want to know, why were the witnesses ignored when they tried to give a warning to prevent all of this from happening? We want to know, did the shooter act alone, or was he just a fall guy for somebody else? We want to know why the delay in the response from Secret Service and the security team. We want to know, was this a ploy or Yeah, was this a ploy to get votes and win in a landslide election? And we also want to know what would happen if it comes out and is proven that the Reds are responsible for this, if this was actually scripted by anyone. How would this change your mind about our democracy, about our government, about our voting system? Has this shooting changed your mind on how you're going to cast your vote? Did it change your mind with the debate? If not, did this change your mind? Please subscribe, like, and most of all, comment and share this. And the last and final question is, do you believe that this shooting, alleged attempt, assassination on the former president, Donald J. Trump, could all of this lead to a civil war? My takeaway for you today, among all and everything else, is to question everything. I was always taught, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. This is Wendy reporting from Real Talk Tea. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Peace be with you. Peace, love, and light.